Welcome everybody to Rules of the Pit. We are absolutely blessed and excited to have Spike from Me First the Gimme Gimmes and a whole list of other bands you'll see in the promo. Spike, welcome to Rules of the Pit.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Well, thanks for being with us, Spike. I got to see you the other night in Portland on the 25th, and wow, I gotta ask, man, where do you come up with all these amazing song ideas? Songwriter supreme right here.
Again, a lot of them were not mine, and I gotta unfortunately admit that a lot of them, the original tunes, were not songs that necessarily fit my idiom, you know, or aesthetic. And wow, there's that bass guitar. Good God, that's loud. I get it better.
All good.
Better situated, man.
Is that
watch this. We're gonna shut myself off. Sorry about this, guy.
all good?
Nothing to apologize for, man. We're all about the music, so any of the background is good.
Just put a little light jazz over top of it. Pardon our technical difficulty.
Elevator music.
That's CJ.
Nice. CJ.
Hey.
Oh, look at this fucking beautiful.
Oh wow.
Oh my gosh, wow, that's amazing. It's a heck of a lot more ornate than Roseland.
Where are you at?
Our dressing room.
Didn't you say he was in Chicago?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're in Chicago. Yeah.
That is a beautiful.
Oh, no, that's the ladies' room.
Gosh, the last show I saw at Chicago House of Blues was Social Distortion.
Nice.
Man, what a cool venue. I don't think it was always a House of Blues, I'm guessing. Looks like one of those old theaters. Oh, here we go. Yes, I found it. Now, here I think I'll be able to get a little bit privacy. Oop, so pera. I'm in the wrong one, dude. We're trying not to mix it up. We're trying to keep the, like observe some semblance of COVID protocols. It's I guess I have to accept that it's over, even though I forget what it is, like something on a day from it still, which I think is that's a heavy competitor for even for Americans dying, which we do pretty well. Stuff going on. But noise, so I think we're good. You got to meet CJ, which was fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Of course, it goes to mute when I got to ask my question. So, Spike, obviously you guys rotate members quite often. A little bit jokingly, what's the interview process to bring new guys into the band?
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't say, what the exact parts or percentage would be of being personable versus talented and skillful at your instrument, but and I don't know if it's equal parts. But yeah, you got to travel well. You got to, a sense of humor is crucial. And you got to know how to play the parts convincingly. But other than that, it's pretty wide open. And some marquee value, which means different things to different people. But it's definitely specifically me. And
Fun, right?
some of the other people that that still are involved sort of with the directive of the organization, if that makes any sense. We want to know that they'd work before we even pick up the phone. So It's like the interview process is not really like we're probably gonna follow through and play some shows no matter, you know, how inappropriate the situation might be. But luckily that guy's Swami John Reese is great to play with. I am a fan of many of his bands from way back. And he is great personally too. Very funny, very intuitive live performer. Just sort of, he's got good improvisation. He prepares, obviously, but he also understands, as anybody, as seasoned, that there's only so much that you can prepare for without being in the moment. And so you sort of have to be ready and brave enough to face that moment calmly enough to, you know, to troll the crowd effectively, which is essentially what we do. Essentially the heels of the bill, you know, which is, I'm comfortable with that. You know, I think some of the best comedians, we were just watching, I don't know if you've ever heard of Patrice O'Neill,
Yes.
an American comedian. Look him up, man. Like he's no longer with us,
Yeah, he
but
rested.
the man was a fucking genius. And why he was a genius is because he would provoke the crowd in these like really, and he even used the word inappropriate and even sort of invoked it as something that was being overused. And this special is from 2011, and the word inappropriate, like the line between him sort of trying to push and provoke you and what he actually feels, you never know where that is, which, like, that's one of the things that he's saying, or is he just trying to push my buttons and trigger me? And I think I wish we had more comedians like that. I mean, we do, and they're really notable, you know, but Dave Chappelle, for example, he's a comedy warrior. Gerard Carmichael, another one that, you know, I don't know if you saw his latest special, but, and yeah, another guy that's not afraid to be a heel. And for that reason, I thought he was a genius. And then I saw his latest special and I was like, no, this guy is a comedy warrior, because they are kind of cultural warriors at the same time as being comedians. They've sort of been forced into that role over the last few years. But anyway, like we don't, you know, we're not in that category, but I relish the role of the heel of the bill, the heel of a bill. And I really started to notice it when we did this Flogging Molly tour, you know, because the rest of the bands were pretty earnest, you know, not to diminish them, not that, and I don't mean that as a slight, but they were pretty earnestly playing their set, their songs, and presenting them to people like most artists and performers do. Like, this is my stuff. We hope you like it. That's not what we do, because it's not really our stuff, first of all. And you need a heel. For a band to be earnest, for, you know, to have a protagonist, you need an antagonist, you know, that trolls the crowd, which I feel we do pretty effectively.
You were magnificent the other night, by the way. Like, and you're talking about that heel thing. It's like professional wrestling analogy. Like, you got to have a good heel. Absolutely, I agree with that 100%.
You certainly do, and some people love the heels.
Oh, hell yes. Hell yes. So Spike, a good friend of ours, Kelly from Manchester, England, she had a quick fan question for you. She's a huge fan of yours. When you first started UKE HUNT, you went out busking for a while. What was the reason for that?
Just to get our shit together. And I thought, you know, we could make a little bit of money, which that kind of varies. It's because it's weird busking in San Francisco. You could have like there are some very strange environments, let's say, in San Francisco. Like, I don't know if you've been to East Hastings in Vancouver, but that's kind of like, you know, a lot of San Francisco is like that. It's not confined necessarily to one area. There is
Right.
the Tenderloin, which is where the cops would get, as they put it, hazard pay, so they could afford better meat at the butcher. So that's why the cops called it. They named it the Tenderloin, and several American cities had tenderloins. But we played in Fisherman's Wharf, and that also had sort of a weird element. Like, you never knew, you know, there could be like dudes that looked like they had just gotten out of the prison yard at San Quentin, drunk bums. There was one incident when a lady, she had just gotten a crab bowl, because we would busk out there by where all the crab stands are there on Fisherman's Wharf, and you get a bowl, a sourdough bowl, and you would put like this kind of crab stew in it, and then they would eat it. And if we were lucky enough to get that spot, because it was this sort of like revolving, rotating order of like who got what spot at what time, and if you were lucky enough to get that spot at a good time, then you would play to these people that were enjoying their crab bowls. This lady, unfortunately, she must have looked away from her crab bowl just for a second to check her phone or something like that, and all it takes is one seagull. And the one seagull got it, knocked it on the ground, and then like 100 of them came in a frenzy and devoured the whole thing. And you could see how traumatized this woman was. And then a shirtless home.
Yeah, Spike, you're moving in slow-mo and we're not getting audio.
Let's see how my internet is. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's better.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, sort of a, you know, this whole place seems to be kind of a bunker, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of concrete in that building, parking garage and stuff.
How's that? Better?
Yeah.
That
Audio
seems
is much
better.
better. Yeah.
Okay. Nice one.
Awesome. Thanks.
Better
buddy.
one, better two.
So, yeah. So, but we got our shit together and learned how to, you know, show grace and poise under fire, so to speak. You know, like it wasn't that bad, you know, but
Mhm.
Anti-semetic Elmo did get in my face at one point. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah.
He was an American phenomenon for a little bit. Do you remember when like they had the superheroes gone bad sort of like trend?
Yeah.
Here in the States, like you'd have Superman or Spider-Man down on Hollywood Boulevard, and one of them absconded with the bank from one of those like Star Tours bus, like, and
I
you'd
hear
see
about
them like Mickey Mouse would get in a fight with Superman in the street, and then like Anti-semetic Elmo became like sort of a national like phenomenon at that point too. Like he there's a video of him screaming about the like, and while he's being arrested and all these little kids are watching him, and he's in Central Park, New York City, mind you, with his hands behind his back, cuffed, and the Elmo mask unceremoniously like flipped back, and he's just a total creep, and you can just see it in his face, and he's screaming about the Zionist occupied government in Central Park in New York City, of all places. And there's a video of him if you want to see it, because it's pretty special. I think he had his name legally changed to Adam Sandler. This is not a joke. So this is the first time that I went out to go to busk, and I was by myself, nobody but me. So like it took like that, you know, from not playing to playing was a really big sort of, I really had to steel my guts to do it. And then so I'm playing and I see Elmo down the street, and he's got these weird sort of silver knee pads, and a satchel, and he's taking pictures with little kids. And then this weirdo balloon animal guy, like approaches me and says, "Hey man, don't talk to Elmo, man. Like, he's got a video called Welcome to the Rape Camp, man." And I said, "Man, like, I don't know you either, man. Like, don't, like, I'm not talking to you
or Elmo.
I'm not talking to anybody, man. Nobody's fucking talking to me, man." And but as it turned out, like, that was accurate too. So this dude had this weird sort of sliding scale. I think it was just in the sort of like pilot form, but he had a weird sort of like, I think it was Cambodian girls, presumably of age, that like a sliding scale you would pay, and the more you paid, the more abuse they would be given. Like just fucking truly disturbing. And then he also, like, his name, if you look it up, is Anti-Semetic Elmo. And then so he got run out of Fisherman's Wharf on a rail, not before he got up into my face, but at one point, which was really creepy, I just literally wished that he was looking at anybody but me. And fucking weird. And I think he went down to Hollywood, got run out of Hollywood, you know, and that was right around the same time when they were like, you know, Mickey Mouse would be fighting, you know, Bugs Bunny in the street, or Winnie the Pooh or something like that, man. Like, but that's what makes LA great. You know what I mean? Like, it's, you know, I don't hate it the way a lot of people do, you know, like it's American trash, man. It's, you know, like it doesn't, nobody does it better than we do. Like, I remember the 2016 presidential election and everything that happened prior to it and everything that happened after it. Like, of course it was a travesty, but on the other hand, come on, this is great. Like, just only we can do this. You know what I mean? Like this, like, if you bring the lens back a little bit, like this is pure American trash. This is like Jersey Shore, like the surreal life, Flavor of Love, like all wrapped into one, you know, like every day, only with like thermonuclear consequences. You know what I mean? Like, like with much higher stakes. So, and he'll be back. He'll be back. He's not going anywhere.
Well,
2016, I'll tell you what I thought. I thought, you know, speaking as somebody from the left, it's obviously more complicated with me than it is with, you know, as it is with everybody. But I thought, this is our fault. This man is our fault. And everybody like him and every Western nation is our fault, I believe. But, you know, what are you going to do? We don't have to talk about politics if you guys don't want to.
We'll take any solid gold we can get here, Spike. That's good.
That's right.
Yeah, it's rough down here, man. It's not looking good. I don't think. I hope to be, well, whether it's on vacation or as a straight up expat, I hope to be watching the presidential elections in 2024 from overseas. That way I can laugh instead of cry.
There you go.
That's it. All right,
You
so let
guys
me
got
ask
it
you
good
this.
up there, man. I see a lot of Europeans, because they love to complain there, that take a lot of what they have for granted, because, and I understand it, because in their imagination, the US is the way it's supposed to be, like this land of opportunity where if you show grit and spirit and innovation and hard work and dedication, like, and a little bit of luck, you can make it, you know, and start making your nut. But like, at this point, I'll take a little bit of nanny state. I'll take that middle way, you know?
Yeah, I hear you.
But Trevor's our only Canadian. The rest of us here in the U.S. and I'm down here in Huntington Beach, just south of you. So I totally see it. I'm the Orange County scene and the LA scene. We're not so different. We're just a little bit more red down here in Orange County.
Yep, that's right. And it's a weird one too, because you guys feel a little, well, not you guys, but I'd say the red feels somewhat under siege down there. So it's a very resentful, disgruntled kind of red, which is the worst fucking kind.
100%.
LA is not, but like LA is like SF, where like I don't have a Republican within miles to blame our fucking problems on, man. You know what I mean? Like the predatory state, like I don't use the word deep state, but they are predators, man. Like when it comes to parking and fees and the way they punish small businesses for like daring to open, you know, in those kind of environments, and then don't do anything about, I mean, they throw a lot of money at homelessness, and I honestly don't know what to do about it, but yeah, it's a drag. But I don't trust politicians of either stripe, but I like the Katie Porters of the world, like the D's, the blues that win in red districts. Like there's something to them, and vice versa. Honestly, you know, like I probably would find more to disagree with the Reds that win in blue districts than vice versa. But like they are something to watch. Like I believe they are a bridge between two very divided camps.
For sure.
Spike, I know back in the day, like 15, 20 years ago, you worked in kitchens. Is that something
Absolutely.
would you ever go back to that? Or like what kind of kitchens
Not
did you
even
work
that
in?
many years ago. Yeah, absolutely I would, if it weren't for my spine, you know. Because in San Francisco, and this is going to sound very racially specific, but sorry, like in San Francisco, the counters are low because a lot of the people, I'd say well over 50% of the people working there are from the Yucatan Peninsula. So like, and a lot of them are shorter than I am. And so like the center of gravity or whatever it is I really fucked up my back working in places like that. You know what I mean? If it weren't for that and the fact that I'm 52 years old, I definitely would, because I love the energy and I love the straight up LOVE that like goes into it, even for people that you don't fucking know, man. So I do it at home and take what I learned in kitchens from Yucatecan people, from Europeans, from like East Coast pizza people. Like I learned a lot from a lot of different places, and I do it at home for people that I, you know, truly love, you know.
Yeah.
But in a commercial environment, there's love. Like it has to be there. It is a necessary precondition, is that sort of love feeling that you put into your food. I forget. My wife, who is Italian, her dad, a Sicilian guy, said, and I forget what the third one was, man. He said, what you need, there are three things that you need to cook successfully: fantasy, love, and then I forget what the third one was, but
ingredients.
probably.
I'd sign off on that.
Yeah, ingredients. But love was like, love figured really big, and everybody that I've talked to, like they will say it and they will like stare down anybody that's laughing at them when they say that you need to put love into it, because it's absolutely true and it's like incontrovertible. Like it's got to be there, even for people that you don't know or necessarily even like, you know. Some shitty people, like, because if you can afford food in San Francisco, for example, I probably don't like you know what I mean? Like but because this, like the sticker price is like, it's insane. And it doesn't even make the restaurateurs enough fucking money, man. Like,
Nope.
Like it's not, the math doesn't add up.
That's all right. I mean, just like you're saying, we don't do it for the money, we do it for the love.
In that town, but it's at risk of, because nobody that works in the kitchens can afford to live in San Francisco. And for that reason, it creates a niche for all these sort of like outlying areas to open up restaurants where, you know, the people that work there can afford to have places nearby where they don't have to commute over this like horrible packed bridge every day, you know?
Yeah. So if I had a kitchen in a small southwestern college town and I sent you an application, you'd fill it out? Because I need a part-time
Southwestern?
just Southwestern Virginia.
Oh, Southwestern Virginia, like near DC, kind of.
No, like 4 hours away down in the mountains.
Okay, like
Blue Ridge
west.
Mountains.
I got you, west of DC.
Chef's angling to
Oh,
hire.
south,
you
not
there, Spike.
southwestern, not southern Maryland, southern Virginia, so kind of close to North Carolina.
Yeah.
You're saying? I
Chef,
mean,
Chef
I'd
needs
like
a
to learn whole
dishwasher.
hog barbecue. You know, what would be wrong with that? You know, that'd be something to. I read that Michael Pollan book, and I really dug like how he got into the, you know, like he really got into the North Carolina, like whole hog barbecue culture. Yeah. I mean, I guess it kind of depends. Like there are things that I'd like to learn. Like it seems like that Sean, what's his name guy
Sean
in
Brock.
Charleston
Yeah.
would be really interesting to learn some shit from that dude. Cause he like, isn't he trying to reintroduce like breeds of pig? And
Yeah,
like,
a lot of it. Yeah, a lot of it was with agriculture, like just finding these old seeds that aren't
Yeah.
grown anymore, like Carolina gold rice and all this different stuff. And he's really trying to bring back that, you know, the Southeast U.S. agriculture that kind of went to the wayside in favor of
Yep.
other more commercially profitable stuff. But yeah, so
trashier stuff,
where
more
he grew
processed.
up is about an hour from where I am.
Okay.
So
He's from North Carolina then?
no, he's from Virginia.
Okay.
And like nothing he does ever says the town, because in that area it's just hillbillies and moonshine and farms. And
Mhm.
great agriculture is available there, but the mindset of the people there, they don't value food in that way.
Walmart.
it's-
They'd rather get it at Walmart. and-
Exactly. It's more convenient. It goes deep into a poverty mindset
Yeah.
that is just rampant throughout Appalachia. But
Yeah.
what we're
I grew up in
doing,
Pittsburgh, which
the
is
place
not
that I'm,
the same,
Yeah.
but
there's a certain similarity, right? It's much more metropolitan.
it's
But,
the end
yeah,
of the Appalachians. Like if you go
Yeah.
outside of Pittsburgh, even some neighborhoods in Pittsburgh, like it's, you know, like heroin and opioids is definitely a thing up there. You know what I mean? Like not that that's necessarily like the hallmark. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't, you know,
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you.
but
So
yeah, it's hard to get people. And then the flip side of that coin is living where I live, and they sort of invented a new tier of pricing based on taking things away. So there's less in my food. Like if I'm just talking like purely like in a numerical way, right? Like there are less things in my food because you took the shitty chemicals that you started adding in the 1950s to sort of increase profits and increase, you know, the shelf life or whatever it was.
Right.
So you're taking it out and you're charging much more than you should be, and we're paying much more than we should allow, because Californians naturally have like this sort of like it's seen as gauche to complain about prices, you know,
Okay.
which allows us to be like, I don't know if you've been to Europe, but they don't have that. You know what I mean? Like if you go to Sicily, for example, and if somebody tries to charge $1.50 for what better be the best coffee I ever had, like you're gonna have dozens of people reading you the riot act, asking you who the fuck you think you are, and you don't have that in California. So you have these people, and it's sold to them, and they buy it. But that like I'm saving the world. It's like bicyclists in major cities. You know what I mean? Like not obeying traffic laws and shit like that. Like, and I ride a bike and I run stop signs. You know what I mean? But like, come on, like at lights and like, don't make it hard for cars. because someday you're going to get run over on purpose, you know? But it's this like idea that you're selling people that they are saving the world. And it really like, it makes like insufferable cunts out of them, if that makes any sense. And I say, and this might be a little bit like dystopian, but I say like, God bless the sheep shearer. You know what I'm saying? Because he teaches us not to be sheep. He or she teaches us not to be sheep. But in a place like San Francisco, like I don't get non-sheep prices. So the sheep that are willing to throw their money around on good, wholesome, organic food make it so that like it's not affordable to me. Like when I do the math of living where I live, it doesn't add up.
Right.
I paid, what was it? I paid like $30 for a box because I decided to do the civic-minded thing and get a box, a cardboard fucking box in my neighborhood. And it was $25 and I thought like, man, I need it. We were about to leave on a tour, which is like what we needed the box for, or something related to the tour. And so I couldn't wait for Amazon to deliver it. And that's what I didn't want to do in the first place. So I paid $25 and I thought, well, it's a good thing I got this box because by the time I hit my 70s, I'm probably gonna have to live in it. You know what I mean? Like when you do that math, it's crazy. It doesn't make any sense. And a lot of it is that like the flip side of that, it's not the poverty mindset. It's like the sort of affluence mindset that like it's hard to explain to somebody like, no, you have an obligation to like a cultural, social obligation to complain about prices and to not pay more than something is worth.
Yeah. No, I totally get you what you're saying, because you have the affluent who are willing to pay $5 for a $2 item.
Yeah.
And nobody else can now afford it because now the market price is $4.
Yeah. It's $5 now.
Yeah.
You know, or $4 now. Like it's just is.
Yeah.
For whomever. And San Francisco is just full of like just really flush people that have divorced, or they've allowed other people to sort of sell them the idea of divorcing cost from value. And, you know, like, but I am 52 years old and I'm just fucking learning it. You know what I mean? Like it's a process throughout, you know, like what something is worth. And it actually took me traveling, you know, throughout the world and throughout, you know, the States and Canada to like sort of figure it out, you know, like the sort of the organic mindset, like that, like, no, you guys are selling us like, it's not worth what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like I really resent the idea that they sell that, whoa, you got to pay a little more to like, because you don't mean a little more, you mean a lot more. You know?
Yeah.
And you're gouging.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how Walmart is able to dominate the market in poor communities.
Mm-hmm.
And like, okay. And why is there an alternate Whole Foods? Like they were talking about that, like a Whole Foods for the hood. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, like, okay, on the one hand, I agree with it, but like in a very superficial sense, I agree with it because it gives people in those struggling communities a break. But you know what? Fuck you, man. Like if you could afford to do it in the first place, why not just for everybody, you know?
Yeah.
That's one thing I love about cooking where I am and doing what I'm doing, this new restaurant we're about to open. You know, I'm taking a lot of my influence and kind of setting my aim around a lot of the Michelin starred places, but doing my damnedest to keep the prices per our market right here. So like, you know what, you can get that same brilliant experience at a rate that you can afford. How much better is that for everybody?
Much better. And I think it crosses like socio-political chasms too, man. Like it, you know?
Yeah.
Which is really important now because food builds bridges for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me lighten this up real quick,
man. You know, whatever God is, you're doing his or her work.
So since we're still talking about food, let me I'm going to bridge with Turchy's question a little bit. next Me First album. Why not do a food related album? Me First and the Gimme Gimmes Eat Out at the YMCA.
Huh, that's an interesting idea, because we do like I mean, if you're touring the right way, if you're doing it right, every tour is a food tour. You know,
That's right.
Like we just went. In fact, I'm wearing the shirt. We went to Kamarchuk's in Minneapolis yesterday. Have you ever been there? The
No.
Ukrainian deli. Oh, so
Oh,
good.
wow. Cool.
Yeah, great Ukrainian deli. Going to Pittsburgh, which is my hometown, in a couple of days, and get to eat just all sorts of. They used to call it junk food, but it's had sort of a renaissance in the collective imagination. You know, like Primanti Brothers, like even like classy food shows go to Primanti. You know, where they put the fries and coleslaw in the sandwich.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nice.
Man, and Mancini's bread. Like, I don't care. Like, Italians don't have soft rolls in Italy, but Italian Americans do, and they're fucking great. Man. Like,
yeah.
well, you know what I'm talking about? The hoagie rolls and the
Yeah.
man, that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, going to Montreal to eat. Man, talk about a food city, man. Oh,
So when you go to Toronto, what is your favorite food to eat in Toronto? I know
man,
Toronto's
there's all
not really
sorts of
like
stuff.
known for
We went to
anything.
Matty Matheson's place several years ago, and that was good.
Yeah.
I like his sort of concessions. His love for American trash, like, is endearing to me, man. Like, it, you know, but like trash elevated, I guess, but not, you know, not to the point where it's unrecognizable.
Right.
What else? I like the Kensington Market.
Oh yeah.
There's good Italian grub in Toronto because there's tons of them. But if you're talking Italian grub, like Petit Italie is where it's at, man. Like that, like, oh my God. There's the Bottega Pizza place. I don't know if you've been there. That's
No.
right. That's like a block off of Saint Laurent. It's so good. Milano's Grocery. I don't know if you've ever been to that big Italian grocery that's there. It's like a wonderland, like a paradise.
Really?
Yeah, such good food up there. And then
Well,
just every little cafe has like good sfogliatelle and fucking zeppelis and stuff, like good Neapolitan food. And furthermore, unlike New York or San Francisco, it's a little Italy that has not been eaten by, you know, like it's not just a restaurant row in the middle of what is now Chinatown. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a whole community.
Well, you guys are
What
gonna
else
be
do I
there.
eat?
You guys are gonna be
Toronto, I'm trying
there.
to think, man.
What, Thursday? This Thursday you're gonna be in Toronto?
Sounds about right.
Yeah, yeah. Looks like
Assuming
I'm gonna
all goes well at the border, you know,
Yeah.
they love to talk.
looks
They're
like
born. They are
looks-
not made, man. They are born that way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and
yeah.
they really found they found their job. They found their calling. And yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna eat there. One of my favorite things that I never really get into in Toronto is the underground comic book scene.
Mm.
That, like, I guess there's like mainly three figures there. There's Seth. I don't know if you've heard of him. Just one name, Seth.
No.
There's a guy, Chester Brown, who I think originally came from Montreal. And then Joe Matt, who did this thing called Peep Show.
Okay.
Oh, and
yeah.
then from Montreal, Julie Doucet is a really excellent artist. And I guess she lived in New York for a little bit and has really great stories. Very, like, brutally frank. And from a woman's perspective, which I think is very helpful, you know, for
Absolutely.
understanding and you know, empathy, all that kind of shit, you know. But in that underground comics vein, in that sort of like that I guess you could say started with Crumb,
Yeah.
like confessional,
Right.
very graphic, sexually, very much like from the id, you know, and not
From
like not so
Queensberry.
tainted by intellect, you know.
Yeah. Oh,
But
yeah.
like Toronto is no fucking slouch in the underground like comic world. Those guys were kind of part of the new guard, Drawn and Quarterly. I don't know if you've heard of that.
I've heard of
publishing
Drawn and
imprint.
Quarterly.
That's based out of, it might be Montreal, but like Toronto, like definitely has skin in the game where that's concerned. I hear those guys downstairs kind of starting.
We will wrap this up for you, Spike. Just
Sorry about that. Yeah.
No,
you're fine.
It's all good. All good. This is your time. We appreciate it. And just we've got a couple of questions we normally ask our guests, but we're just going to cut it down to one for you. We know you're on a time crunch. What couple of bands should we be looking at for these days that you feel people need to be listening to?
Okay, well, first of all, I'd have to look into my phone, which I'm using to talk, because I'd have to show you the things that I'd last been like. It's kind of all over the map, man. I've been listening. I mean, a lot of people say this, to a lot of cumbia, like classic cumbia, and right now, this group that just joined us from Mexico City on this tour, they're called Son Rompepera, which I gotta ask them what the fuck that means, man. Like a broken pair. It's like a broken pair, but I think it's some kind of slang. But they are sort of like updated cumbia, like sort of, and with punk sensibilities,
Nice.
but also that respect the classics and respect the form. And then the Black Tones have been opening the bill. They're from Seattle and they're fucking excellent. Like they take like some hallmarks of, for lack of a better word, grunge, 90s grunge, but they give it real beat and real pocket, you know, and like they're just really good and worth listening to. Other than that, man, like it's a lot of old stuff, old cumbia, old boleros.
No judgment here, man.
Yeah.
Old Afro pop, you know.
South of the border scene has just exploded. I mean, we're getting a lot of amazing music coming from south of the border, and it's just,
hell yeah,
it's overwhelming. You know, we're paying attention to a band called De La Luz, who comes from Southern California area, and a buddy of mine drums for De La Luz. Now we're gonna go see him next week. And just this new sound and this new energy, and it's so amazing to come out of South America and or not South America, but Mexico and South.
Yeah,
putting all that sound and this new energy into punk and ska and anything that they're doing is just
and
so
garage
mind-blowing.
music, like
the
60s
garage
punk,
music,
psych music too. Like it like, and it's real rhythm. Like I think that's part of it. You know, like there's room for Anglo pop, Anglo-inflected Anglo-American pop, and I love it. But like it's new. Like and if you think about it, like it's a much bigger, all right, market is maybe the wrong word, but like listenership to Spanish speaking music than to English speaking music, because there's just more of them, you know, like there's more Spanish speaking listeners, and they obviously listen to Anglo pop, but I think they want to hear their own language, and which was part of, well, that was not the reason. It was just the side, sort of a perk, a benefit of starting, hopefully after the fact. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, because we have only released a 7-inch as of yet and have not done any shows outside of Panama City. But my group Los Nuevos Bajos, like that's like, we would like to be a part of that renaissance in Spanish speaking music, because people want to hear themselves. I notice it whenever I bother to like stumble through whatever language, like if we're playing in Europe, do a song in Italian or do one in German. and it really like it makes kind of a difference, you know, like it people really appreciate it
Absolutely.
That's
because
awesome.
they feel seen. God, I hate that word. It's like wellness inappropriate and like, you know.
Oh, I'm boomers. All right.
I'm not opposed to it, like in like general, like categorically, you know what I mean? Like, yes, it's all good, but fuck, you guys are insufferable, man. Like, you know, like you can reasonably expect me to normalize. You cannot reasonably expect me to celebrate. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I choose what I fucking celebrate, you know,
Definitely.
but normalize,
Preach.
like whatever you do that doesn't hurt somebody and that's consensual, I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like it's normal to me.
Nice.
They're playing right now, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we got to get you out of here, Spike. I got to say, I love, you know, we brought you in to talk about music, and we got an economics lesson and a food lesson, and we got like
Oh,
so
don't take my word
politics
for it.
mixed in. We got some
man.
good stuff. We got some great
Thanks,
stuff.
Professor Slawson.
Man.
We can't
That's
say,
my dad.
I can't say, I can hopefully speak for all of us when we say we just appreciate you being able to come on and
Yes.
talk to us and get some insight into what you guys are doing. And we really appreciate having you on.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sean. Hope you have an awesome night tonight at House of Blues. I'm sure you guys will. I am looking forward to seeing you guys on Thursday in Toronto at the Danforth. And yeah, it's going to be a kick-ass time, man.
Awesome.
Everybody, yeah, Spike
That's
Slawson.
it. Thanks, Spike.
Cheers. Thank you very
Cheers.
much, man.
Good one,
Thank you, sir.
guys.
Cheers.
Thanks.